Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Ray Bradbury, the show here on Let's Talk Entertainment, where beginning in 2018, I've been attempting to read and review each of the roughly 600 short stories written by Ray Bradbury. Today we were up to story number 272, which is from the collection One More for the Road from 2002. Today's story is One Woman Show, and it is literally about a one-woman show. The way that these reviews work is I do a brief synopsis of what happens in the story, sort of the plot, action, character, and then sort of wrap it up with a very light analysis of what it all means. What I took away from it is a good story, and I mainly do this for my own entertainment, but on occasion I'm pleased to find that you guys enjoy these things too. All right then, so on to that synopsis. A movie critic, or a theater critic rather, named Mr. Levering, sees actress Ellen Thomas and her one-woman show, and 24 hours he is completely love-struck, enamored of her performance, and he's now meeting with her husband, Mr. Thomas, while he waits for the show to end. He's planning to do an interview with the two of them, but he is completely starstruck and enamored and in love with this woman, and he says to Mr. Thomas, boy, a man could never get tired of her, living with her for her entire life, because it turns out her characters in her one-woman show are so diverse and so captivating that she's basically every single woman on stage. Levering wants to go and see the end of the show, but they're waiting in the car, and Thomas says, I haven't watched her perform in over a year. I really don't want to do this. Don't make me go in. But Levering grabs him by the arm and pulls him in, and they sort of stand at the back of the theater and watch the last few scenes of her show. And she's just a whirlwind of different types of characters going back across the stage, and eventually she sort of becomes an old, sort of broken down, convincingly old lady. They wait a little while, and she comes out the back, and he's sort of fawning over her, and she hands him something, and her husband sort of says, "No interview tonight," and whisks them away, and sort of leaves Levering behind. He looks and he realizes that what he was handed was in fact her sweaty stage towel after the show, but he loves it and he cherishes it, and he's sort of enamored of it, and it's sort of like an heirloom to him. And he takes a taxi ride home afterwards alone. Okay, so this is not Bradbury's best story, but it does have a very strong, passionate heart in the middle of it, and I sort of find it sort of relatable to sort of the world we live in today. It's about the relationship between fans and, in this case, the fan is a critic, but also fans and the stars that they sort of prop up. We do have a capacity to sort of fall in love with our favorite celebrities, and it's sort of kind of unnatural because we don't necessarily actually know them, and sort of the versions of them that we see on the stage or on the screen aren't necessarily really them. It's parts of them. It's parts of them that they were able to bring forth in the course of doing a performance, but it's not necessarily the person who they really are, truly are at heart. And that is the case with this woman, because when she sort of wipes away her makeup and the sweat, she's sort of more of a broken down, sad old lady, it seems like, and not at all the sort of the vibrant personality that he knows on the screen, but it doesn't necessarily dampen his love of her any at all. He sort of takes this sweaty rag home and cherishes it, and it's sort of the same case with sort of like the souvenir trade, and people have like if you go to a concert and they're throwing guitar picks and towels and hats and drumsticks and all these things of little value off the stage, but they become sort of important to you for a reminder of a certain moment. And in certain cases, it's become creepy where people are stealing underwears from celebrities, or crazy shit stories like that. So there is an unhealthy infatuation here with fandom that I think that Bradbury is trying to get across. But at the same time, I think it does speak to the power of arts and performance and creativity, and how we can be inspired to love over things that are in fact fictional, and they're creations, and they're not necessarily very real at all, but they sort of, a good performer can bring a sense of reality to a thing and make it seem real and make us fall in love with him with just a few short words, whereas, regular healthy relationships come from, generally speaking, not love at first sight, but, they're built over time, and you learn to know the truth of each other and the real you, and that's the person who you have to be in love with, not the character, but the real person. Otherwise, the relationship doesn't last. And by all accounts, it seems like the relationship between Ellen Thomas and her husband is a strong one, and he sort of is, in a way, her protector, and he doesn't take part in her performances. She doesn't watch her shows, and maybe that's how he fell in love with her originally. But he sort of ushers her away from the back of the theater, cradling her, protecting her from crazy fans, and sort of giving her emotional reinsurance after she's done this performance, which takes so much out of her and sort of reveals the old lady, the one without the makeup, the true core of who she is after it's all over. So, yeah, there you have it. One woman show. It's not a great story on the whole. I mean, I think it should have been longer. It should have done more to sort of drive home these points that I've tried to bring out of it. But at the same time, it does bring those points across, at least enough where I could grasp them, so perhaps it is good enough. Perhaps I'm being a little bit overly critical, but at the same time, it didn't feel fully fulfilling as a story, as a cohesive whole itself, but it still did bring forth some things to think about. So, yeah, one woman show. And next time, which will probably be next weekend or maybe later this week, we'll be looking at another story with a long title, the Laurel and Hardy Alpha Centauri Farewell Tour. I always have fun trying to get those names on these thumbnail images, but that will be story number 13 of 25 in one more for the road. So, thank you, and I will see you again soon.